In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And in him was life, and this life was the light. And John says to us that darkness will never, ever put out light. And this is what I experienced when I went to Israel. And I would like you to come with me on this journey and enjoy the Bible coming alive. When Noah had to build the ship, the people said, "You're crazy." But what God said came to pass. Now, we live in a time where God says the glory of God is going to fill the earth. He didn't die on the cross so that Satan and the Antichrist and the beast can rule and reign. He says that's deception. Jesus said, "Do not be deceived, but have patience for the earth to receive the former and the latter rain." And the whole of the country of Israel is actually a proof that what is going to happen is going to happen. Now, Rome, the biggest civilization ever, everything that came from the statue that Daniel dreamed about, Media, Persia, Greece, and Rome, they all got their information from Babylon, the head, but Christ is our head. Now, I just want to say, what you see there, if you look at the ruins, is, oh my word, Rome was the strength of the statue of the kingdoms of the world, and it's lying scattered all over Israel. But that what God was doing is monumental, and it stands there for eternity, proving the authenticity of the Word of God. Oh, it was like, I was having my own parties all the time, just thinking of how awesome the Word of God is. Rome was like, there was places we went to that I have never even read about, and it's not in the Bible. But these whole Roman cities with amphitheaters, they're all there of a proof that nothing of the world is lasting. But God's history is alive because it's alive in me. There's nothing of Rome anywhere in any person left, but it's in the governments, in the cultures of the world that's not going to be lasting. But what Christ has done is alive right inside of us. I remember this one, the most funniest thing we had is we went to this one Roman place. Oh, the amphitheater. It's so big. I don't know how they built the stuff. It's so huge. But it doesn't matter how big humanity goes, it can never be everlasting. But there was the first toilets. We all had a time of sorting out which toilet fits us, because this is hysterical. It was public toilets, and there was this trench that was dug, and then all the waste fell into the trench, and right in front of the trench there was a small little trench with water coming down. And it's actually, I don't know, explain on TV how they actually did it, because it is terrible. the men and the women all sat together in this public toilet. And it was marble slabs that were built in the wall. And it was just smoothed off on the edges. But the big trick about it is how big is the opening between the marble slabs. So you've got to understand how big your butt is. And then find yourself a slab with a bigger opening. So you sit with your one side on this one slab and the other side.
The big tushy, how the stones is like that. Then each one is coming here. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. And no earthy.
And it's not hurting your tushy.
The water.
But wait a minute. Women and men together. Yeah. You see how you got excited? And why? Why women and men together?
Saving water.
Because they walk with a gum.
Can't see anything.
Long gum. You lift the tushy and you see.
Down, can't see nothing.
Water running here,
Oh yeah.
and down there is what you do, and after that they clean it. You understand?
And then they have slaves that have got moss on sticks. So everybody was sitting there. How did they do it? They all wore long dresses, so they just lifted up their dresses. And then they would bend out, and slaves with sticks would put water in there, and they would wash the people. Now, what is so terrible to me is the slaves eventually found out that if they dipped their stick with the moss that they found into vinegar, it sort of cleans it up and all the loose particles go, and they used that vinegar water to clean the sticks that they cleaned the people with. So this is how you went to the loo, men and women together, it was like. And when Jesus said he's thirsty, they gave him their water, the vinegar water that they cleaned people with. So there was a few shocks that came to me that I'm like, we've got no idea what Jesus came to do. He came and he became a servant. He became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. But it is a lower point than we can ever imagine, because we know that Paul, he has also been flogged. There's other Christians that's also been crucified. But what was did to the Christ has never been done. The history writers say that his back was plowed open. They hit him 39 times with a cat of nine tails, and they hit him horizontally, and the last one came. So every time they hit him, it was 9 strokes, and each end had a little bone or an iron, and it opened his back in lines like this. And the last one they hit, they say when they hit the last one, it burst open, that you could see his intestines. He was not a man. He was not in the form of man anymore. He took it everything. He gave everything. He became so low that he had to drink the vinegar water. And it's like, we just don't understand what Christ did for us. And if you understand the humbleness of the country,
we're getting close to the border that used to be Lebanon, Syria, and Israel. And we're going to start to drive up to the barriers. Looking down to the valley, and the valley is built on a way like that you have like 3 fingers sticking in to Lebanon and Syria. And all the members of the people that living down suffering. They live in a bomb shelter. Came 1967, the 6-day war. And the 6-day war, what happening in the country? The Syrian, the Egyptian, and the Jordanian lying along the border. Israel army have the regular army and based on the reserve. We reserve in those days 2.5 million people. Guys, I just want you to know that you are the only tourists, but the only tourist from the all buses that you saw that you came here.